Homesteading. It can be a lonely experience at times. Living in a rural area with neighbors who think I'm crazy because I don't want to spray poison on the pasture where my animals eat, that can feel isolating. The homestead can be a place of great fellowship and teamwork, a place of learning and getting to develop new skills, a place where life begins for some, and later, a place where life ends so an animal can fulfill its purpose and provide for our nutrition. A place for parenting, mentoring, and discipleship. There is peace, beauty, love, romance, sacrifice, sweat, and hard work in all of this. But truthfully, for me, this isn't my everyday reality. It's almost the exception rather than the rule. I am a single dad. I only get to see my son 50% of the time. Working on the homestead the other 50% of the time is often a reminder of what's missing. That's why finding community off the homestead is important for me. Everyone's situation is different, but what we all have in common is our need for community. We are designed for it. We are designed for interdependence, not independence. Staying connected with community is the antidote to the isolation and loneliness that can often come with homesteading. Being part of the YouTube homesteading community has not only resulted in having relationships with other YouTubers, but it has also connected me with local viewers on the same mission. Viewers who are now dear friends. A YouTuber friend of mine who excels at building community is Martin Johnson from Martin Johnson Off-Grid Living. I first became acquainted with Marty when he and his wife Julie invited me to join their monthly YouTuber meetups. Through this, my friendship with the Johnsons was born, which eventually led me to making a 30-minute documentary about their story for the new Abundance Plus network. The Johnsons story is so amazing and compelling. I sent the film to Justin Rhodes for a review and he absolutely loved it, except he wanted to hear more about the community aspect of it. A couple days ago, I packed up my film gear and went over to the Johnsons' homestead to film that additional content per Justin's request. Marty, what do you think of my new camera rig here?
Wow, it's nice, man. It looks super fancy, super professional. I like the big battery, can power everything. You've got your little mic thing here. You've got your monitor here with the hard drive built in. It's pretty cool.
Well, we're on Abundance Plus, man. We gotta
go
big.
You gotta go big or go home.
That's right. We touched on community in the video, but we didn't touch on it enough apparently. Justin wants a little bit more.
Yeah.
How did you start building community here?
Well, we started, I think, with the congregation here. So that was our initial community. You know, we didn't know a lot of people there. When we moved here, we knew a few, and we, because we'd visited over the years. But when we come to visit, we'd only be here a few days, each time. But through that, we got to start building relationships. Through YouTube, we got to meet more people, and we're friends with you now, and Heather and all the folks living out there in her homestead. And so
if somebody is interested in living this lifestyle, or maybe they're moving from the city, leaving behind their network, do you have any advice for how they might be able to find community in a general sense?
Number one, in my opinion, would be to find a good, solid congregation there, to be a part of. The other is to become involved in the community in some way. We get to be involved through YouTube. Not everybody wants to do YouTube. A lot of people don't want to put their presence on, social media at all. They don't want to be out there doing that. But there's a lot of different organizations that you could be a part of, like there's probably a farm co-op in the area possibly that you could go and be a part of and go to their meetings and get to know all the other farmers in the area, stuff like that, I would say.
Where did your desire for creating community or building community come from?
The different lifestyles that we choose to live, right, either lends itself to a really easy way to make community or not, and we were doing mission work in Indonesia, so we left our community in America. So you have your nuclear family as one part of a community, but then maybe you have the people that you work with. That's another community that you're a part of. Your congregation is a part of a community. Just being an American, living in America, there's a whole community right there of shared experiences and history that we all have. But when we move into another culture, all of those connections are basically gone. You have your family, but the congregation that you're a part of is back in the States. You're establishing a new congregation and a new culture. And so you really have to work hard at building that community. So I think for us, the conscious part of needing to build community came from removing ourselves from our current community. And then when we moved here to our property, we removed ourselves from a community that we're a part of when we needed to establish a new one here. And so with every move that we did in our marriage, there was the opportunity and the need to establish more community.
What were some of your biggest struggles that you had to deal with in those efforts of community development?
Okay. Let's see. Some of the biggest struggles that we had with trying to establish community really depended on where we were at that particular time. For example, in Indonesia, part of the struggle there was the cultural differences and the language differences. When you're trying to build relationships with people that you can barely speak the language, of course we learned it over time, but in the beginning you could barely speak the language, and then the cultural differences where they don't even necessarily view the world the same way that you view the world, that can be difficult. When we moved here to our homestead and started building up the homestead here, one of the major difficulties with that is that the lifestyle that we chose to live kind of isolated us from the rest of the natural community that you would be a part of. Right? We didn't go to a job 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. This was our job. And so we had the local congregation here that we were a part of, and that was really encouraging. But there was still a piece missing.
Our first priority is always the church, and so we always have the friends that we make in our local congregation there. But outside of that, we all have interests, and so for me, at one point in our life, running was a really big part of my life, and so I had a lot of friends in the running community, and so I think that's just one of the main things. The key is to discover what your interests are and then go find a group of people that also have that interest.
Filming went great, and the final version of the film is set to release September 10th, 2021, exclusively on Abundance Plus. I will also be doing a public screening with the Johnsons on September 10th at 6 p.m. Pacific Time in Sandpoint, Idaho. If you are in the North Idaho area or the surrounding area and would like to come out to the screening, watch it for free, and connect with other like-minded individuals in the community, come on out. Send me an email, dan@grassfedhomestead.com. Give me your name and the head count for your party so we can know how many to expect, and I will send you the exact location of where the screening will be. Do you ever feel lonely living on the homestead?
Sometimes I kind of do.
How do you manage that feeling sometimes?
I usually like just coming out, spending time with the animals, because then I don't feel as alone. I have a friend who lives nearby, like through the woods or something over there, in that general direction. But with the community stuff, I've also started taking karate lessons.
I am really grateful to be a part of this virtual community. I'm really glad that you guys are here too. You guys have done so much for me during some hard times. I also encourage you to get involved in your local community if you haven't done so already, and also try the Abundance Plus community. There are some big plans in the work for really expanding that community aspect on Abundance Plus. So come join me, be a part of that community as well, and you can do so by clicking the link down below in the video description. It is an affiliate link, which means I get a commission if you choose to click on that link and sign up. Thank you in advance.